welcome you on behalf of
This is so beautiful.
ये हमारे स्टूडेंट्स
Thank
ने
you.
बनाया है मैम.
Gunjan, Gunjan.
Yes.
Wow, see, it's so beautiful.
सारे हमारे बच्चों ने बनाए फोटो वी हैव गिवन वन एवरीवन.
It's amazingly beautiful. Thank you so much.
ये हमारे आर्टिस्टिक फिजिसिस्ट हैं.
Artistic, yeah, obviously,
Artistic
obviously. Physicists can do everything.
So we welcome you ma'am on the behalf of organizing committee.
Thank you
and
so much.
the
Thank you so much.
participants in our college.
Thank you so much.
So now I'll just read out this brief intro of
Brief.
ma'am.
Brief.
Ma'am is working as a professor in physics department, College College, and she has a teaching experience of more than 26 years and research experience of more than 28 years. And she has research experience or specialization in accelerator-based experimental atomic physics. She was awarded with the German Excellence Service Program Scientific Project Fellowship for doing the PhD.
ये innovation.
And her PhD was awarded by Justus Liebig University.
Lights off कर सकते हैं, बहुत faded दिख रहा है.
Ma'am is actively involved in the experimental work in the IUAC as well as the Institute of Physics, Bhubaneswar. And ma'am is also awarded with the Indian National Science Academy INSA DFG German Funding Agency Award. And ma'am
ये
is
सभी
presently
teachers
involved in
DU के हैं?
guidance of 2 PhD students. And
और
she
ये
has
सभी
successfully
कुछ को तो मैं शक्ल से पहचानती हूँ, बाकी सब DU के ही हैं. So they want to teach this sec paper. इसी तरह ही पढ़ाना है ना? They might offer a sec paper like this, है ना? ऐसे ही पढ़ाना.
Teaching Excellence Award and the Industry Recommendation Award for the Innovation Research Project Conversion of Wind
डेमोस्ट्रेट करेंगे क्या?
नहीं अभी नो नहीं मेरा तो एक्सपेरिमेंट PPT अभी PPT.
conferred with the National Award of Best Physics Teacher by IIT in 2019.
आप रिकॉर्डिंग के लिए पूछ रहे
Ma'am is the
हैं?
member of Subject.
आप बोलिए, खड़े रहो एक जगह.
मूवमेंट कर सकते हैं कोई
Ma'am has
थोड़ा सा इंटरेक्टिव
has number of national
हाँ,
and international
अगर कुछ डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने के लिए.
which include 70
कल है experiment.
lectures on physics in Nasi, and she has 37 publication in international and national referee journal and 148 national and national symposia and conferences. And ma'am is actively involved in the curriculum framing of the semester system, CBCS, FYUP as well as NEP. So ma'am will definitely going to give us a good intro about this particular paper, radiation safety. How we have to teach this particular paper, and we will going to float this particular paper in our college as a set paper. So over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
So am I audible? If I'm audible, I would not like to take mic. Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. So we have more participants. Okay. So he has read out my introduction. The most important introduction is I agreed for this particular lecture because I want to meet you all. That is the most important thing for me personally, that I want to meet you all. I know some senior colleagues of Delhi University, but I do not know all the young faculty people. Okay, so I want to meet you all and I want to develop a rapport with you, and I want to know you personally, and I want to record your phone numbers personally onto my mobile, and I along with you would like to see the dream of this sec paper, radiation safety, being offered and floated in all the colleges. That's my personal aim. So do you think we can do it? So it all depends upon how much I can convince you whether this is a paper good enough to be floated in your college without loading you much, and by giving you other benefits which are more lucrative to the students for that matter. So are we on the same footing? Would you like to speak, would you like me to speak only in English or bilingual? Please tell me that first. Whatever you prefer. You are the stakeholders, the choice people. Okay. So the first thing is that why should I study radiation safety? That's the first thing that comes into the mind. And as I asked Onkar to add this line that I was involved in curriculum framing because I wanted you to know that I have experienced the pain of framing a paper. So framing the syllabus of a paper, many papers for that matter. He is also a participant. हम वेट कर रहे हैं, आप विराजेंगे तो हम शुरू करेंगे. कोई बात नहीं, आप विराजी बैठी. So now any more participants, Onkar? Few more. So we continue introducing each other till the others are settled in. Can you please tell them to hurry up a bit? Because I'll not start unless everybody is in. Yeah, okay. So till then we talk a bit. Before I inspire you to talk about SEC radiation safety paper, I would like you to just tell me one or two sentences. What comes to your mind when you see this topic, radiation safety? Please, those who are associated with Inter-University Accelerator Center will not answer. It's somebody else. What comes to your mind? Just one or two, please. Come on. We are waiting for 3-4 more people to come. Laser radiation comes to your mind. Okay. Anybody else? Mobile radiation. Mobile radiation?
Any type of radiation.
Any type of radiation.
Electromagnetic radiation.
Electromagnetic radiation.
Since I'm from high energy physics, so I usually think
Particle physics. Okay. Well, we are not talking about particle physics right now, but of course, there is lots of radiation. Anybody else? Anything that comes to your mind when you see radiation safety?
All sorts of radiation which we are talking about in modern devices. When we are talking about wireless communication, the microwave radiation which are producing hazards actually, which have penetration to our biological habit. We are not
Okay.
thinking about that.
Okay.
We are developing.
So when you see this, you think about that. So we should not, mobile and laptop. So you see, we should not blame our youngsters. Most of us, when we see the word radiation, we are thinking about mobile and associated communication hazards and their radiation. Anybody else? कुछ weird सा दिमाग में आता हो, कुछ wild सा? हाँ? Radiation from the sun. Okay, fine. Nuclear radiation. What? Anything else? Ozone layer depletion. Okay, ultraviolet radiation. Yes.
Radiations from the waste material.
Radiation from waste material. Yes, we have a huge mountain in Delhi.
Disposal of radiation.
Disposal of radiation. Anything else?
Radionuclear section of hospital. Radionuclear section of hospitals.
Radionuclear section of hospitals. Yeah, that's true. So should I wait more or should I start? Start. Okay. So today's PPT is not more interesting than the interaction that I'm going to have with you. You see, all of you just said whatever comes to your mind, and this paper of radiation safety, have you seen the syllabus of this paper? Little bit. I mean, nobody really reads line by line of any paper unless and until you are told this is your paper, you have to teach it. You see, जब तक पढ़ाना नहीं तब तक देखना क्यों? Isn't it? So today I am here and I am really thankful to Dr. Savita Roy and all the collaborative agencies who have framed this FDP for you all, because this is one particular topic which every physicist should know. And unfortunately it doesn't deal with mobile, laptop and any type of communication radiation. It doesn't. However, this is a very important paper. Why? We'll see just now. So, and why is it called skill enhancement paper? That is one thing that should come to our mind. You all are aware in CBCS system, you had radiation safety as a, which paper? Are you aware? DSC paper? In CBCS. In the CBCS system, this paper existed as which kind of paper? It was a SEC paper. It was a SEC paper. And now, along with you, I as a physicist also cried. We had opted for so many SEC papers and ultimately only a bunch of them have been passed by the university in NEP, and a long list which Dr. Gadre is aware of was not passed by the Delhi University. So the question is, who are those people who picked up one of these as this physics paper as a skill enhancement? What skill is it going to give you? So please allow me. Just a sec. So my plan of enjoying this paper with you will be the following. So don't have to write down anything. Lights off. So my plan of enjoying the paper is, I'm going to have 4 lectures with you. Today is the first one. The first one I'm titling is Radiation and its Interaction with Matter. We'll get clear about what kind of radiation we are talking about. In the lecture number 2, which will be tomorrow morning, we'll have radiation quantities. What are the units? How do you detect them? And what are the monitoring devices that you're going to use? The third lecture is titled Radiation Dosage. It's safety management. The paper says radiation safety. So what safety? From where and for what, and its applications. And the last one will be simulation based radiation investigations, where all of you will be doing experiments with me which are prescribed in the syllabus here within the college. And by the time you go, hopefully you'll be able to do all experiments like a cakewalk. So this is my plan of enjoying the paper. So there are 3 lectures on theory, on how to cover the theory of this particular paper, and 1 lecture on the practical aspect, right? This lecture 1, radiation and its interaction with matter, since you have not read the syllabus, therefore I am putting the syllabus right in front of you. It has got 4 units. This is the unit number 1. Is it clear? Everybody is able to read? Sir, please look here. Forget your mobile. We are not talking about mobile radiation, so you just forget your mobile for some time. Right? You just say, I'm very busy with my girlfriend, and then nobody will disturb you, you know. That's the best way to say, I'm very busy on a date, you know. So radiation and its interaction with matter is the unit number 1, and you see only 6 hours have been given to it, right? Now let's look at the syllabus. It says basic idea of different types of radiation. It satisfies your query. So you all talked about different types of radiation. So here in the first part, you can really talk to a student about the basic ideas of different types of radiation, not necessarily nuclear radiation, right? Then further it talks about electromagnetic radiation. This was in your mind. So entirely about electromagnetic radiations, you will have X-rays, gamma rays, cosmic rays, and so on. There is nuclear radiation, which is mostly the concern of this paper. The paper is mostly concerned with nuclear radiation. So that beginning part you do. And then you have nuclear radiation, where you will be talking about basic ideas of alpha, beta, and gamma rays, neutron radiation, which is very important, and their sources, is sealed and unsealed sources. Why is it important? Then you have interaction of charged particles. We'll go more into detail. I'm not going to read out the slide just now. I just wanted to show that this is unit number 1. It has got 6 sections. Please look at the 6 bold portions. So all the 6 bold portions of unit number 1 can be covered in 1 hour each. Now if you just look at the syllabus and just remove SEC and NEP from top and give it to a nuclear physicist, for example, how many hours will they take? They'll take 1 month to teach this, you see. So first of all, this skill enhancement paper enhances the skill of a teacher. This much I can guarantee you. I've been teaching this paper ever since its inception in CBCS system, and my skills have been greatly enhanced. I can, I've become so elastic, and I can teach this in 3 days, I can teach this in 3 months, I can teach this in 3 years to my PhD students. So you first of all develop the skill of, elasticity in your own teaching. That's first thing. In lecture number 2, I have written here unit 2 and unit 3. So there are just 4 units, right? 4 units, 6 hours we have to teach that. And then unit number 2, it's just copied from the syllabus, is 4 hours, you see. What does the unit number 2 says? It says radiation detection and monitoring devices. So you must know how to detect the radiation, you must know how to monitor it, and then they have asked basic concepts and working principle of some detectors. This is unit number 2. Out of the whole slide that you can see, why are 2 paragraphs purple? Can you tell me why? Why are 2 paragraphs purple? Why have I shaded them different from black? There is a philosophy while you make a PPT. Wrong answer, madam. Some correct answer, please. Anybody? Yes?
It will be directly in your papers.
Still wrong answer, sir.
While teaching the detectors, these have to be taken care of.
No, this is still a wrong answer. Come on. You have to enhance your skill, I said. You see, first of all, your skill has to be enhanced. Huh? Yes, who said it? It's a repeat. That's the problem with the NEP syllabus. Don't get misled. 1 paragraph is pasted twice. Okay? So, whatever is pasted as the second paragraph of unit 2 is identically pasted in unit 3 in the published NEP syllabus of SEC, and I tried to convince people to correct it, but I was told ज़्यादा ही दिमाग खराब करते हो अपना, छोड़ दो, ये तो हो गया. So by the way, our work is not extended. This purple portion is repeated in unit number 2 and 3. So even though the syllabus looks a bit long, actually 1 paragraph is repeated, so the work is not so much, right?
So why it is
Cut and paste problem. Cut and paste problem. What else? Sometimes we must look for easy answers also. We must not always look for something complicated in life. So this purple portion is repeated, okay? And we have to just remember this while we offer this paper. And then in unit number 3, I am pasting unit number 3 again, the third lecture, which will be radiation dosage, its safety management. So this purple portion is again posted just for your information, and this is unit number 4. So how many units do we have? In the SEC paper we have 4 units, okay. First unit has to be taught in 6 hours, you can take 7 if you like. And if you can catch the students nicely, then you can invest some more time, have more fun. Like I love this paper because I enjoy this paper thoroughly with my students. The students enjoy it, I enjoy it, and I develop lifelong relationships starting with this paper. So it's my really favorite paper to be saying. Now unit number 4 gives you just 3 hours, right? The blue portion is slightly different from the second application, we'll come to it later. This is just to tell you that the 3 lectures of theory that I'm going to take, I'm going to cover all aspects of all the 3 units, of all the 4 units of the theory part, right? Today I'm talking about the first one, and tomorrow morning I will be talking about the unit number 2, 3 and 4 together, right? So this is the situation, and further the syllabus definitely lists some books. These books are freely available on the internet as PDF. One of the books I've just posted to you just to show you, Nuclear Physics Principles and Applications by John Lilly. It has a major portion of it directly available. And this other book is An Introduction to Radiation Protection by Alan Martin, Sam Harrison, Karen Bleach. This book is not written in the syllabus. I discovered it after the syllabus was made, but you can refer to it, it is easily available, and the books which are written in the syllabus are also readily available, okay? And I'm sure if any of you decide to float this paper in your college, I shall be always at your service 24/7. You can ask me anything, anytime for anything. I can provide you A to Z, anything that you require to float this paper, okay? So now this SEC paper in NEP 20, and I want to just mention 2 things. I couldn't get you. First book is Lilly. It's mentioned there. It's all mentioned in the syllabus. Lilly, L-I-L-L-E-Y. It's easily available, and it is also not costly. The students can also buy it. You can buy it for your library and so on. It's not costly. So what I want to tell you is this. This is a skill enhancement paper because it is the only paper which enables your student to become a radiation safety officer 6 months after MSc or 2 years after BSc. This is the only paper by which you can lure all your students, because this definitely guarantees a job. That's what is the meaning of skill enhancement paper. So where? I will show you the BARC press release of some time earlier. Now just look at this. Job opportunities in radiation physics. Some 874 radiation therapy technologist job vacancies were available in India, and this particular news item I took some 1.5 months back for a conference which was held by Institute of Eminence of Delhi, where they were discussing how public partnership can lead to jobs for the students. So what I want to tell you is that this skill enhancement paper, you have to obviously lure your students into taking this SEC paper. I know the real problems with workload and things like that. This particular paper enables a student to become a radiation safety officer. What does that student have to do? The student first of all takes up your SEC, and if that student after MSc decides to do one particular certificate course which is floated by Bhabha Atomic Research Center only in India, and then that person is satisfying the radiation safety officer requirement. With that certificate, which is provided only and only by BARC and AERB. What is AERB? Atomic Energy Regulatory Board of India. Okay. So AERB and BARC together are the only 2 agencies in India who have got the authority to give the certificate of a radiation safety officer to any person. How will the student get that particular certificate is all prescribed in a proper manner for the entire country. That's the best part. It is defined for the entire country. In Delhi University, in our Department of Physics and Astrophysics, do you know who is the radiation safety officer? Ma'am, you must be knowing. Do you know who is the radiation safety officer now? You don't know. There is one radiation safety officer within our department. One of the professors is a radiation safety officer, and not everybody is qualified. You have to pass that test of AERB and BARC. So with this particular flash of 2-3 slides, what I want to tell you is that you must be aware of this paper of physics department or physics syllabus. This paper cannot be floated by zoology and botany. Please remember this. So you have to first of all understand how you are better than other departments for luring students. And the best part is you can lure not only the physics students, but you can lure all the zoology students. For the particular thing that he mentioned, wherever you go to a hospital, there is a radio nuclear division, entry not banned, and the regular symbol of radiation. Did you ever inquire, did you ever have an X-ray, for example? How many of you had an X-ray in your life? All, okay, I too. Did you have a CT scan? Okay, so I had a CT scan. Did you have an MRI? Yeah, yes, you had. I also had an MRI. So you see, MRI, CT scan, X-rays, and again cancer therapy and all other therapies which are used for the for the benefit of mankind, they are all dependent upon knowledge of radiation and its safety. Who are those officers? Did you ever ask them what are your qualifications? When you did an X-ray, did you ever ask them what is your qualification? Radiologist. Okay. Anybody else? Exactly. So there are two methods. Person who is doing zoology, if that person does this SEC paper with you, then that person has a sure shot road to become a radiation safety officer. Why? Because that person understands body, that means human anatomy completely. Additionally, that person has learned the radiation safety in SEC paper, and then later on, after her masters or after his masters, all that person has to do is do that particular certificate course. Where is that certificate course held? It is held by the AERB within BARC, and it is now held in Amity University also. Latest development. Usmania also. So I did not do a research on where all it is allowed. If one can, in the era of internet, all you have to do is AERB certification for radiation safety officer, and you will get all the places within Delhi. A person has to only enroll in Amity University to get this certificate of AERB. It has a proper syllabus, and the course is running 6 months or 1 year. There are two varieties. 1 year. 1 year. So you see, first of all, we have to enhance our skills. Why am I floating this skill enhancement paper? Number one, you have to convince your department, then you have to convince your principal why this skill enhancement paper should be floated by the physics department, because nobody else can teach it. Zoology people cannot teach this. It involves a lot of physics, right? Therefore, you have an upper hand in floating this paper, and then if you understand what this paper is, then you can lure the entire zoology honors, the entire life sciences students, and so on. If you say, how will I lure it? I'm just learning it. Well, there are several proper videos and PPTs available which you can just play to them and talk to them that this is beneficial for you. And let me tell you, the physics students will be the hard ones to convince, but the zoology ones will not be, because they understand what is a radiation safety officer. And they have employment in each college, each hospital, and they would get employment in each private hospital, small clinics, or HOD type of places, diagnostic laboratories, and so on. So the number of job opportunities in this single skill enhancement paper is so huge that by just this alone, you can ask any number of students to join you for this particular course. So did I convince you, madam, as a principal?
There is a reason for studying this paper.
Yes, there is a reason for studying this paper, because nobody else can do what you can. And just ask anybody, do you need an X-ray? Yes. Do you need a CT scan in your family? Yes. MRI? Yes. What do you don't require? Maybe yourself you have not experienced, but somebody in your family is definitely experiencing MRI and CT scan, and they'll scare you in 100 ways and so on. But if you just spend a little bit of time on this particular paper, you yourself gain a lot for your own life, number one. Number two, for your family, for your personal family, your own family, your extended family, your friends, and definitely the students and the society as a whole. So, does that sound convincing? Little bit. Thank you. So,
USIC bhi ek jagah hai.
huh?
Places like USIC.
Yeah, definitely.
When we have X-ray also.
So this is just to tell you that the skill enhancement paper is really enhancing the skills, and I'm really proud to tell that the one girl who listened to me and went to PGI Chandigarh, who went to the applied medical physics course of Punjab University because she did not get into MSc physics of Delhi University, is the first one to get placement. Because she went to applied medical physics course of Punjab University, in which BSc physics honors students of yours will qualify very easily. Once they go there, they study physics, then they study applied medical physics, this radiation safety. She had a cakewalk because she had already done the paper with me. And after that, direct placement into PGI Chandigarh. And then she's the first one to get a placement. And all others with regular physics are still struggling with MSc, PhD. She's the fastest of all. So this is really a skill enhancement paper, and I personally was very happy that this has been retained. And now it is up to you all and us that we retain this paper in most of the colleges. And for that, as I promised, I'm 24/7 available to you. So with that motivation, because it is obvious, you all are physicists and very, very knowledgeable people. I'm not here to teach you basic physics. What is required is, can I really manage it in the 1 hour theory per week and 2 hour theory per practical? That's the challenge.
Practicals are expensive.
No, absolutely free of charge. The softwares that I'm using, or we are using, or we are supposed to, they are all simulations. You will do it with me tomorrow, and you don't require any money for it at all. So you don't require any money, and you can really energize the students and motivate them.
Is there any place where you can go and see those practicals happening?
Yes, our department.
Our department.
Yes, we can just ask them one day and we can have data from them. I'll touch all these topics tomorrow in the there is data which the Department of Physics can give it to us through soft copy. You can use that and analyze it on your own computer, just like you do simulations and calculations. Secondly, you can, if you want to see GM counter working, then you can take your students one day there, one visit to Department of Physics, and you can take your students to Inter-University Accelerator Center. I think you've heard about that institute, isn't it? You can...
Open day in IUAC or something?
Yes, there is an open day in IUAC, but then on that open day, their program is fixed. They do allow every college a separate day just for you. So if, for example, Maitrey College says, we want to visit, say with 25 students, they have a limit of 25 to 30 students. They do not let you take hundreds together. So more than 25 to 30, they generally, there is a number by which they allow. So you take all your students there, and there with their own eyes they can see everything regarding radiation. In fact, tomorrow I'll play you a movie of a scientist who is a health physicist, radiation physicist of IUAC itself. So you see, this skill enhancement paper allows you many things. It allows you to energize the students, enhance your skills, enhance their skills, and make an outing of physics department to IUAC one day, and to the Department of Physics, Nuclear Physics Laboratories yourself. I'm sure in MSc you must have done GM counter, isn't it? So we'll talk about those in this. I personally have bought a GM counter, so I'm really happy in my college that I've got a GM counter now, and I've yet to set it up and show to the students. But it doesn't matter if you don't have GM counter. Other experiments are enough for you to conduct 5 experiments as written in NEP. In NEP it is written 5 experiments you have to do, and we can do all 5 without buying anything or without using anything. So this is just Press Information Bureau, where it is in 2018, where Department of Atomic Energy and Bhabha Atomic Research Center, they are declaring that we want more and more people who know about radiation, because now radiation is used in food, in paint industry. So there are so many applications. I attended a conference where almost every official of the government was literally crying that which will be the day when we will have enough students who know about radiation, because we are not able to save our food, we are not able to transport our food in a proper way, because wherever you want to store food, you need radiation, and you need people who have this particular certificate. So I'm sure that must be a little bit inspiring to you. अगर आप अपने students को ये बातें बताएंगे, तो I'm sure they will understand कि जहाँ भीड़ नहीं है वहाँ जाना चाहिए, जल्दी नौकरी मिलती है. Those who are hankering for jobs and so on. So this was the subject matter of the release, and I just want to say that There are so many places. So if you don't read the whole thing, you can see that in Nashik, Maharashtra, in Navi Mumbai, and in several other places, the Department of Atomic Energy is waiting for physicists who are knowledgeable in radiation, and there are still very few universities who are offering this particular radiation safety syllabus as their course, and Delhi University is one of them. So it's now up to you to make the best out of it and make a connection with it, use it, float it in your college, and then you can also produce some students who can probably join the industry in this manner. So now we come to the lecture number 1, radiation and its interaction with matter. You see, the moment we talk about radiation, sometimes it leads to boredom. Kaun padhega? Chodo. You know, some kind of a thing. The moment we see theory, just as we do not like to read a lot of theory, the students also are not so eager to listen to a lot of theory. So I'll share with you my experiences of how I made this paper extremely interesting for them by not teaching from lecture 1. Although I will be talking with you from lecture 1 to lecture unit 1 to unit 4, but I will my experience which I would like to share with you is that do not start with lecture 1, start with the unit 4. Why? Because that is one thing which excites them most. Why? Because it talks about CT, it talks about CT scan, it talks about PET, okay, and it talks about tomography, it talks about MRI, it talks about X-rays and so on. So if you want to energize the students in this particular sec paper, talk about those things like I asked you, did you really have an X-ray? Or ask them, did you have an X-ray in your family or CT scan in your family, MRI? And suppose they say, no, we don't have any such experiences, then we talk about Bollywood movies. And the moment you talk about Bollywood movies, they are absolutely energized. And then you can ask them to name all those movies in which their favorite heroes and heroines were just about to die and some, you know. So they know a lot about, they are not receptive, they are not observant, but actually they know about what are CT scans and X-rays and MRIs because of those plates which those doctors hold in those Bollywood movies by saying this, you are just going to finish in say 1 month and so on. And you know, this energizes them. I'm just talking about how over the years, how I found my students interested. Yes ma'am, that movie and usme ye bimari thi aur usme wo bimari thi. And then the question is that you as a human being, irrespective of whether you're studying physics or something else, don't you require to be healthy? Of course you're required to be healthy. And definitely nobody likes to go into an MRI scan table, you know. I had a horrifying experience and I would not say it's some place where one should go. But one has to be knowledgeable, and if you have that knowledge, you can make yourself understand or help your family people understand that something is not wrong. Because you see, the first, you're also doing social service. The moment you talk about this paper, you are giving the information to the society that this is required. What is the difference between an X-ray and an MRI? What is the difference between an MRI and a CT scan? And are the doctors really mad when they're just prescribing एक MRI लाइए, एक CT scan लाइए, एक X-ray लाइए, एक blood report भी लाइए? Isn't it? और कुछ हुआ तो Doppler scan भी लाइए. You know all these tests. So in a way, you are not only just teaching them skill and some course in which they are going to get marks, it is going to enrich them regarding their own life, their family's life, their nuclear family, their extended family and so on, that they understand that if a doctor is asking for a CT scan, you as a person can ask, CT scan में आप क्या देखना चाहते हैं? MRI में आप क्या देखना चाहते हैं? X-ray में क्या नहीं दिख रहा है कि आपको CT चाहिए? CT किस केस में की जाती है? MRI किस केस में की जाती है? कब की जाती है? और कितनी फ्रीक्वेंसी से आप MRIs करा सकते हैं? कितनी फ्रीक्वेंसी से आप CT scans करा सकते हैं? You see, everybody has to know this, because you never know, God forbid, who in your family or in your extended family would require such a case that you have to undergo all these tests. So if you start with the fourth unit, which talks about applications of radiation safety, you can really make them themselves interested. Yeah, and that's the, I think, सबसे बड़ी skill वही है कि student अपने आप interested हो जाए और आपसे पूछे next class कब है, and not miss your classes. So I think it's a challenge to us as a teacher that we are able to catch their attention and, you know, ask them, are we going to meet next, and so on. And then a lot of the syllabus can be covered by just giving them very small projects or very small assignments which they will do with pleasure. There is some assignment without pleasure, and then there is. So how many assignments do you take per paper? Please tell me. How many assignments do you take?
Ma'am, I give, after every lecture, I give one simple question of 1 or 2 minutes.
Please share with me how many assignments do you give? Any paper that you are teaching? One paper, one assignment. One assignment per unit. So 5 units, 5 assignments. Do you know how many assignments my students do? ये भी नहीं, एक पूरे syllabus पे एक, दो. I know personally so many colleges, so many people who take just one assignment, one test. है ना ऐसा? है ऐसा है. How many assignments have my students given? Can you guess? Guess?
10.
Guess?
मेरे साथ तो हो गया ना कि 40-50 assignments को भी मिले. One question after every lecture.
One question after every lecture. They have to give it in writing or speak?
Writing, scan, anything.
Writing or scan anything.
That's why maybe
Nobody can beat Shivani, you know. She's above all. So 27 to 30 is my normal. उसके नीचे मैं बात नहीं करती. 27 to 30 assignments within 3.5 months. There is not one topic of the syllabus which is not written by them in their registers in absolute detail and then in summary. This is mandatory, without which I will not give them IA. Does not matter what the Delhi University says or does not say. Why? Because you don't know question paper में क्या आएगा. Do you know? You don't know. I also don't know. So you see, and you'll say, so Shivani says that it can be done. It can be done? Yes. It can be very easily done. Believe me, I've been doing it for years and years. 30 assignments is my normal for every paper. I have these big files.
only 10 minutes per day.
Just think. I mean, you should have something for thought, you know, something to think. So you can, what is the benefit? There are several benefits. First of all, the student is forced to read that. If I say X-rays, are you able to write what are X-rays? Are you able to write the origin of X-rays? Are you able to write the origin of X-rays in a particular X-ray tube and how it is originating in an atom? Can you differentiate? Can you really write it in a way that you can understand it well? You'll say, इतना काम कौन करेगा? Believe me, ये आपके लिए काम नहीं है, उनके लिए काम है. For you, it is not much work. You have to only be strict and say, I want an assignment. That's it. Have a stern face and don't budge. Just don't budge. That's all you have to do. Let them write. And then they say, okay, how do you feel about your writing? Have you written a good answer? Then exchange the copies and ask them to mark. So there are several ways in which you can energize the students and they're most eager. Ma'am, मैं लिख के दूँ? हाँ लिखो ना. Ma'am, मैं बनाऊँ? हाँ बनाओ ना. You see, unless we are able to do that, I think no skill enhancement paper, no lecture, no FDP can ever be of any use. You all are PhDs. I'm not here to teach you physics. I'm here to share my experiences with you and to tell you how I enjoyed the whole journey and how I managed the paper year after year. And believe me, all the 4 years that I've taught, every year I taught in a different technique. Every year I taught it in a different technique. So this is just to tell you that it was a very nice experience for me, and so I hope I can convince you also to do the same. Now let's look at the syllabus, radiation and its interaction with matter. Obviously, the basic idea of different types of radiation, let's go one by one and quickly. Obviously, I'm not going to read out all the text because I'm sure everybody is is having enough knowledge about all these things. However, if you feel that, no, I would like to have some text for it, I would like to have some real ready-made note out of it, so that we will converse and I will give it to you later on. Okay, so first let's see. We have to cover it in 6 hours. That means basic idea of different types of radiation, electromagnetic, X-rays, gamma rays, cosmic rays, nuclear radiation and their origin. Where is the challenge? The challenge is we are not supposed to go very deep. This is one thing that you have to remember. If you exceed the time limit, then this cannot be the SEC paper defined in NEP. So we have to, since you have never taught radiation safety, so you are better off. Because you are at the 0 level. So you have not a preconceived idea where I had a SEC paper with lots of periods and now I have to teach the same thing in a condensed matter. The important thing is where to stop. कहाँ रुकना है? उससे depth में नहीं जाना है.
No derivations?
No. So one thing, we have to set the paper also. So I'm looking forward to joining you all in making radiation safety papers. Till now it was floated in just 2 colleges, ARSD and Kalindi till date. इस पेपर को और कोई नहीं पढ़ाता था. जब तक वो 3-4 साल से CBCS में चल रहा है कोई नहीं पढ़ा, सिर्फ ARST और मेरे कॉलेज में नॉन स्टॉप चला है आज तक, और अब भी हम आगे चला रहे हैं, और आई होप आगे आप लोगों के कॉलेजेस में भी आप फ्लोट करोगे, एंड देन वी विल हैव द क्वेश्चन. वी हैव टू कीप सम पोर्शंस where derivation is there, because you don't want to read essays. Do you want to read an essay while correcting papers? Nobody wants to read an essay. So the first skill that you have to teach your students is that do not write an essay. That's the most important part. And as you know, the students have a habit of writing pages after pages after pages. So short and crisp is what you have to tell them. Let's look at the first part. Radiation and its interaction with matter. Basic idea of different types of radiation. The moment you talk about the first topic, your first assignment goes, okay, go ahead and find out all about all types of radiation. They'll immediately come back with mobile's radiation, 5G, 4G, and communication radiation, laptop radiation, mobile radiation. So you only said what are the different types of radiation, and while they are traveling on their way back home, they have served all these things and they have made it ready, and your basic part is already vocally done, right? So this basic idea of different radiation, now you can actually tell them the basics of radiation, and this part is very important because what I have experienced over the past 26 years where I have been teaching about nuclear atomic physics and radiation in my UG classes, the students, although they start reading modern physics within class 12, so you know NCERT syllabus, it starts with modern physics, and then there is a chapter of atom, then there is modern physics, and then there is modern physics, then atom, then nuclear. There are 3 chapters. So I don't feel sorry in sharing with you that I start all my classes by NCERT. So I spend one whole week teaching only NCERT. My first lesson in every class is NCERT, class 12, chapter number atom, nuclei, modern physics, all 3 chapters covered. They have to sit and write it down in the register. They have to give me vocal answers, and they have to solve the numericals of Pradeep. Just do this exercise and you will find shocking that they cannot even do a radioactivity numerical properly. They cannot do a radioactivity numerical properly. This sec paper has an added advantage. आप लोगों को boring लग रहा है तो हम किसी और तरीके से बात करें. Are you finding it boring?
Very interesting. Very interesting.
एक दो को तो boring लग ही रहा है. Sir is too knowledgeable, so he is just. No, but he is very knowledgeable. He is connected with IUAC also. So please, I apologize for listening to these basic things. You see, this skill enhancement paper, what was I talking about? The skill enhancement paper, this NCERTs. You see, take this test. The moment you start with skill enhancement paper, float it before the paper of modern physics in NEP syllabus. Do service to yourself and your department. Just try to float it in the first year, in the second semester, or in the third semester, before the modern physics syllabus comes. You know the structure of NEP right now, na? Modern physics will come in the 4th semester. Try to float this beforehand. If you are able to convince your physics department students, then they will be already knowledgeable. So what I used to do in my college, sec paper I teach first, they are already half ready. Then comes modern physics, they are further ready. And then further ready with nuclear physics. So by the time they are able to graduate, the ones who persist in physics, the ones who will become lecturers like you and attend FDPs like you, are also being made in your colleges only. And they really do well in masters and later on in PhD and so on. So it's like a ladder, sec, then modern physics, then atomic physics, then nuclear physics. So they really become enriched. And my own personal tests of NCERT syllabus, in all the years, let me tell you, 1-2 साल छोड़कर हर साल, it's a calamity. When you ask them those NCERT things, the answer is, our madam had cut out this portion, this was not in CBSE syllabus, this was rejected, it was only of 2 marks, so I did not study the book properly. We, while making curriculum, Dr. Gadre knows, we always say, ये तो class 12 में पढ़ के आए हैं, but actually वो पढ़ के नहीं आते. So your first work is to start with that basic modern physics, and when you talk about radiation, please make them understand that in the room while sitting right now also radiation is striking you, right? So one of the other things which energizes or inspires the student to study this chapter is you just say, are you tired? How about a shower? Everybody will say, yes, we want to go and have a shower. But you are always having a cosmic ray shower, right? Now what is a cosmic ray shower? They actually don't know, because cosmic rays is now no longer in state syllabus or in CBSE syllabus. So then you start your syllabus about cosmic ray showers, which is also a type of a radiation, and that's exactly what I do. So we talk about primary and cosmic rays. You need not give them, sentences after sentences. Please don't try to dictate. It's not required, because everything is so easily available in books. You just tell them, just listen to me, understand it, and then take the material. There is no harm in providing them detailed books with all answers or your own notes if you like. So I start with cosmic ray shower, because they're astounded. What is cosmic ray shower? It's actually going through our body even now. All of us are also experiencing cosmic ray shower. So you start with this, and then you ask them, just find out what about cosmic rays, and immediately, they're waiting. Mobile को कब छूने देंगी तो मैम अच्छा रहेगा. So because you know this, you say, okay, now 3 minutes, get me what is cosmic rays. Immediately they try to find it. Okay, save it. You see? So those students who are lured towards mobile, you use that particular skill of theirs to enhance their knowledge and to help you cover the syllabus within 6 hours. So you start with cosmic rays. You all know what are cosmic rays. I'm not here to teach that. And then you talk about, okay, now you come to types of radiation, and then as you all said, you talk about electromagnetic radiation, and then you say, okay, fine, each one of you, one girl, one particular student X-ray, the other gamma ray, the other ultraviolet, oh sorry, I've written ultraviolet twice, infrared, microwave, and then you talk about all those petties which they have on metro stations with microwaves. Is microwave really using microwave? You float that question and you leave it. They'll say, yes, ma'am. I said, okay, why don't you just find out how does the microwave work? So you see, because they're using the microwave at home, and some girls will say, no, we are coming from a background, we don't have microwave, and so on. So you see, these, before you talk about electromagnetic radiation, you have these small assignments ready. Okay, what are X-rays, what are gamma rays? Obviously they have a book. There are series of books. I can also give you 20 books right now, where everything is written. But that will not serve the purpose. But the moment they try to find it out and try to express it themselves, they find it very easy. So they used to find out everything about infrared, microwave, ultraviolet, and so on. And so on. So, or you can say, no ma'am, I just don't like this talking method, I better enter the class and I will give them write down. I've seen most of the colleges do write down, and then everybody starts writing down, So वो एक था ना, मैकेले ने बोला फैक्ट्री के लोग पैदा करने हैं, तो हम सब फैक्ट्री के हो गए. जब तक हम लिखते रहे, श्रुति भी खत्म हो गई और स्मृति भी खत्म हो गई. तो एक बार आप इसके बारे में विचार कीजिए कि आज तक हमारे एंशिएंट टेक्स्ट अब तक हमारे पास क्यों हैं? क्या वो लिख रहे थे जब कोई बोल रहा था? और आप ये देखिए ना, जब आप मुझसे बात कर रहे हो, अगर आप लिखोगे तो क्या आप पूरा सुन पाओगे? क्या आप समझ पाओगे? इतनी छोटी सी बात वी एस टीचर्स हैव फॉरगॉटन कि जब आप लिख रहे हो तब आप लिख रहे हो, आप पूरा नहीं सोच सकते. इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. लीव अलोन दोस 2% ऑफ एक्स्ट्रा इंटेलिजेंट स्टूडेंट्स, बाकी 98% नहीं कर सकते. So either talk to them or make them write, do not mix the two. So I personally don't like, मेरे क्लास में कभी कोई पेन पेंसिल नहीं लेके आता है, लिखने का कुछ काम नहीं होता. बात करो, घर जाओ, किताब पढ़ो, इंटरनेट पढ़ो, कुछ भी करो, खुद का आंसर लिख के लाओ. So that is their own notes, and if that is their own notes, you also help them in the skill enhancing of their writing skills. English लिखनी कहाँ आती है? Just this 1 month ago, which paper did we have? Modern physics. Oh God, it took me in Hindu college 5 days just to understand the English, the bundle that I got. 5 दिन मुझे उसकी ट्रांसलेशन करनी पड़ी कि जो लिखा है इसका क्या अर्थ है. इंग्लिश में ही लिखा था उसने, बच्चों ने 30 पेपर्स, तो 5 दिन तक अंग्रेजी समझती रह गई. And I felt like crying. What are we? What skills are we imparting? हम each one of us, whatever we are teaching, please make them write. Unless the government says you are allowed to write answers in Hindi, which is not going to happen in Delhi University, for the higher physics, we have to teach them how to write correct English. And all of you, it's an earnest request, please उनको English में सही physics लिखना सिखाइए. And that is really lacking in Delhi University. I mean, I cry when it comes to correcting the papers. So all you can do, you can say, no, I don't want to give assignments, मैं तो पढ़ाऊंगा या पढ़ाऊंगी. तो then you talk about electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation के लिए आपको सारे modern physics के syllabus में, please this you can note down, all the books of modern physics which are mentioned in the NEP syllabus are all having all this content in great detail. So you just open those books and just take them from me. Weiser is there, Survey Moses and Mayer is there. If you want, I can make separate lists and give it to you tomorrow. or later, whenever you want, right? X-rays and gamma rays also, you have sufficient material over there. Then in X-rays, what are you going to teach? You are not going to give detailed derivation apart from how they originate from the X-ray tube. And let me tell you my own disaster. I thought ये तो बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ा है मैंने. You know, somehow you understand through their performance and examination कि उनको क्या नहीं समझ में आया. उन्होंने बोला हाँ समझ में आ गया, बार बार बताया, बार बार सब. But when they wrote an answer, it was a catastrophe. So then I realized कि हमें लग रहा है कि उन्हें समझ में आ रहा है, but उन्हें समझ में आना है. So in X-rays, you have to be careful about two things. What is the confusion in their mind? How are X-rays produced in an X-ray tube? That you have to tell. Basic idea about electromagnetic radiation is very simple. You all know that you cover. Please note 1 hour only, right? And then you have to talk about characteristic X-rays. I will also share with you the question papers of radiation safety which have been coming in the past 4 years, right? तो आप उनके क्वेश्चन देख के आपको कुछ आइडिया होगा, मगर प्लीज़ उनको फॉलो नहीं करना. अगर आप क्वेश्चन पेपर सेट करते हो अगले साल तो प्लीज़ फॉलो नहीं करना. So don't make a trend. Don't let it be a predictable paper. Let it be an unpredictable paper. In X-rays, they are confused about how are X-rays produced in a tube and how are X-rays produced in an atom. And how is Bremsstrahlung produced? So in this particular paper, we only teach them basic schematic diagram, a graph of the X-rays and how they are emanating with just E2 minus E1 is equal to h nu, and then you can give them small numericals of binding energy, say E1 is given, E2 is given, what is the X-ray that is coming out, and so on. This level is what you have to maintain, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं करना है. Okay, so X-rays you can give numericals. So immediately आपको ये सोचना है कि छोटे numericals कहाँ create हो सकते हैं, so that the paper is not essay type, it is more of numerical or thinking type, right? So I can share these PPTs with you. And by the way, these PPT, all slides are not made by me. They have been made by students. I just told them I'm going to give a lecture on radiation. Ma'am, मैं बना दूँ? कहाँ बनाऊँ? Ma'am, इस पे बनाऊँ? So the whole day yesterday, my students who have passed radiation safety, were all of them sitting and they were making different slides. And most of the slides that you see today are made by them. So you will see the childlike touch also in there, right? So in X-ray spectrum, here you have to show the X-ray spectrum and make them understand the difference between the Bremsstrahlung, that is the continuous radiation, and the characteristic radiation. Okay, qualitatively, but they should be able to calculate E2 minus E1 is equal to h nu. That is all that you have to do in X-ray. Similarly, gamma ray, you will say. So in UV and visible light, there is just information. So just information you will give, right? And infrared radiation and microwave, please ask them the question. Microwave से चलता है क्या? वो ज़रूर पूछिएगा. For example, inspired by this skill enhancement paper, I asked the students to make a small booklet about every electrical gadget that they had around their house. And they have made such a big compilation of every gadget that you can think of around you. Fridge, TV, fan. And they researched everything on internet and they made a compilation of that with figures and animations and so on. Beautiful. And I also learnt a lot. सब कुछ नहीं पता होता है. So microwaves, infrared, ये सब आपको सिर्फ बताना है और ये इसीलिए 1 घंटे में कवर हो जाएगा. Correct? So now comes nuclear radiation, and because the entire paper is based upon nuclear radiation, इसलिए nuclear radiation को आपको थोड़ा सा deep में पढ़ाना है. इसके लिए आपको NCERT, you must ask them to repeat the chapter of atom and nuclei, and you take a test on that. So on this nuclear radiation, you must ask them, and there are questions always coming on this. What is alpha radiation? What is beta radiation? What is gamma radiation? Differences between the 3 radiations. These are very simple things. For you and I, it is very simple thing. But when you will take tests, you will find they are not good at it. They are not good at it. They confuse amongst electrons and alpha particles, and they give very, very funny answers. So if any of you agree to make a SEC paper or teach this SEC paper, I would like to make a question bank over this entire syllabus. Multiple choice and quizzes and so on, which you can, share with your students and make them more interested in the subject. So nuclear radiation, when you talk about nuclear radiation, then in alpha particle, beta particle, you have to tell them all the 3 properties of all the 3 radiations, their penetrating power, right? And their momentum and so on. So from now onwards, you will talk about nuclear radiation properly, right? So that is the beginning part, and here we must invest 1 complete hour. 1 complete hour revision of class 12, and then touching of all the properties of alpha, beta and gamma, and definitely do some numericals about alpha particles and beta particles and gamma particles for the class 12 syllabus at least. or you have these modern physics books. Has anybody taught modern physics in any particular college? Modern physics. You have taught which college? Khalsa College. Right. So you are aware that all the first two paragraphs of modern physics coincide with SEC paper. So you are already aware, and then in modern physics we had made a proper question bank also. We had made a huge question bank. Are you aware of that? By the Delhi University? Very sad. So Delhi University had collected teachers from all the colleges, and we had made a huge question bank and model test paper on modern physics. So I will supply to all of you that also, and there you have lots of numericals. You have to just give those numericals, answers are there, they can try out those numericals, and this way you can give a lot of assignments which are useful to them not only in this SEC paper but also in the coming modern physics paper. So how much time do I have? Yeah, so because I'm not supposed to teach you physics, I have to just tell you how much to cover and so on. So you will teach alpha radiation, their properties, then you will give beta radiation, gamma radiation, their properties, and numericals. Please don't forget, and numericals, that's very important. Of modern physics level, of the level of the books which are used in modern physics syllabus, that is Survey Moses and Mayer, Weiser, Thornton and Rex, and maybe some other book which you know of that level. Not going to a very high level, right? Because SEC का paper है तो थोड़े time के लिए ही काम हो, right? And neutron radiation also, fine. So these are the details. Do you want me to read all this? I think that would be too time consuming, and everybody when you decide, we can have a discussion again. And you can take all this. Now this is important, you must not be knowing about this, sealed sources and unsealed sources. These sealed sources and unsealed sources you are definitely aware because of your master's experience in nuclear physics laboratory, which you must have done as a core nuclear physics. You have had experiences with either pure germanium detector or with GM counters. So you have sources, radioactive sources, and in India these sources are made only by Bhabha Atomic Research Center. If you want to buy a source within India, you have to write to BARC and they will supply you a source according to the strength that you require, and you must also know that it is not allowed to keep sources just like that. You have to inform Delhi University that you are going to have a source, and you have to go through the proper procedure. AERB gives you a certificate and so on. So here in this particular syllabus, starting from unit 1 itself, they are teaching you what are sealed and unsealed sources. This is very important because you will realize that most of your students do go into MSc, at least half do, or at least 1/4 do, and they must be aware of what is the harm that comes to a human body because of handling a particular source. And let me tell you, my whole life in research I have worked with only accelerators like IUAC and at GSI. And in those accelerators I have seen many people who are students and they are not aware of how to handle a source. So what are sealed sources and what are unsealed sources? Information is freely available in books and internet and everything. The students have to understand that the radioactive material which is freely available in the nature is processed in a particular agency, for example BARC in India, and then made into a source. Okay. So for example Americium-241 is a radioactive source. So here in this particular unit 1, you'll have to revise radioactivity all over again. You'll have to revise. It comes within those NCERT chapters. And then make them realize that the source, when it is made ready, it can be either covered, that means sealed, or left uncovered, which is unsealed. All details are there. I will share this PPT with you. So the sealed and the unsealed sources, their strength are measured by the manufacturing agency. For example, BARC, if it sends to Khalsa College an Americium-241 source of say 5 curie, then they will write down 21st of July, 5 microcurie source is made, and they will mention whether it is sealed or unsealed. So unsealed sources have to be taken with care. In no condition are you supposed to touch it. Never. Because your skin will immediately take the radioactivity in and will be harmful to you. Right? So sealed sources are also not to be touched right in the middle. So wherever is the radioactive material, and unfortunately it is kind of transparent, so you don't come to really know of it ki kahan hai kahan nahi, center mein rehta hai. So you must hold the sealed and the unsealed sources by the outside, and proper shielding should be given to those sources. The sources are always maintained in a lead box. Do you remember does anybody remember your master's class here in Department of Physics here, where you must have done nuclear physics experiments? So did you see the shielding of a particular? Yes, cobalt 60. So you have thick shielding of lead, and all these things you have to tell them that this is very important, because, and now you can find somebody sleeping in your class while you speak all this after laboring so much. Then you say, "वो Bond 007 की movie देखी थी?" And then they wake up and say, "In that movie, what was he carrying?" And then you can have several Bollywood movie examples, and you can make their attention towards the importance of radiation, which excites them for entertainment, but does not switch on themselves for as a physicist. As a physicist, they are not thinking when they are actually enjoying in those movies about radiation and all those movies of Shah Rukh Khan or whoever, who are always transferring something. And then homeworks are very interesting. Watch Parmanu, watch this, watch that, all those movies where you are talking about radiation. So they are very happy.
The real case of
Yeah, the real case of Maya Curie. So you can give them all examples. My homeworks are always watch this movie. Okay, so, and then next day so can you believe the latest movie? I forget the movie's name. The latest movie where there's this person in Pakistan finding about the nuclear radiation area of Pakistan and reporting it in India. The man who dies in the airport. The more I cannot tell. So I'm sure you all have watched that movie. Very famous movie, yeah? So I asked them, you watch this movie and tell me what is wrong. And can you believe it? They came back and told what is wrong. Radioactive material cannot be found by stirring a beaker. That's what is shown in the movie.
and if we ask for violation of laws of physics.
Yeah, violation of laws of physics में तो बहुत सारा है, but you see, the students came back, ma'am, how can they find out radioactivity by stirring a solution in a beaker? I said full out of full. I'll give you 25 out of 25 in internal assessment. So you see, immediately their eyes, and that's the main thing, we have to make them observant. Their eyes must become like vernier calipers, and their eyes and their brain should be like screw gauge. If you can't make that, you are failing in a teacher. If your students' eyes are not like screw gauge, something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with them, okay, but something is wrong with us also if you can't do it. So I was so happy. This person picks up hair from a barber's shop and puts it in a container. And then again, another girl, ma'am, ये container तो shield lead का नहीं था ना? So how was he carrying it like this? Sir, wow, you learned radiation safety, you see. So it can be made into a very interesting thing, and they found out the faults which were shown in movies regarding radiation. You see, you're also spreading general awareness about what all is being seen by them as a citizen, as a human being. So sealed and unsealed sources are generally asked as a kind of a question. You can think of some better question. We have not been able to think of a better question than this. So encapsulation, why they're encapsulated, why you should not touch them. And when I was in IUSC, my friend students used to pick up a 10 microcurie source, put it into their pants and start moving. Said, hello, what are you doing? But 10 microcurie ka hi to hai. I said, hello, have you not read what can 10 microcurie do to you? Right? So it is necessary for every physicist to know about radiation. So stability, handling, how do you handle sources? What all I said is mentioned here. I'll be sharing PPT with you, as I said. So unsealed sources, what are the characteristics? There is no encapsulation. Handling has to be done with care, never touch on top. And for example, I'll tell you, a few years ago, when this cobalt 60 problem was going on at Delhi University, yeah, and there were rains. And you know what happens in Delhi University when it rains. What happens to the roofs? And the AERB was so strict. They were searching for droplets of water which were irradiated because the water had fallen over radiation sources. Yeah. So all those kind of things they were worried about. This is a very sensitive issue, and everybody must be aware of it because it's all around us, and it is not just with radiation which is coming out of sources. For example, if you are happy traveling in aeroplane, yeah, you are happy traveling in an aeroplane? Everybody is happy. Do you know how much radiation falls on your body? Do you know business travelers are taking much more radiation than a person who is sitting next to the source? The more you travel, the more radiation you experience, and it harms your body. How much radiation can my body, tolerate? And how much my body cannot tolerate? What is the dose limit? This is all about this paper. This paper tells you about radiation of all kinds, of the radiation levels, of its quantities which you can undergo, and of the quantities which you should be careful. Now, does that mean that we stop doing nuclear radiation? No, the whole world is doing it. The whole world is doing it. France, Germany, USA, everybody is surviving on nuclear power. And right now, you as teachers should make more students who are radiation aware, because we require people with nuclear power and nuclear radiation awareness in our country. The future is of those physicists right now. So we are actually having a very responsible task. If we say India को nuclear power बनाना है तो जाएगा कौन? Physicists ही जाएंगे ना? So I think this provides you a handle to contribute in that, not just give lectures. So applications of sealed and unsealed sources and all you have to cover. Now, how many of you are material scientists, may I know? How many of you are dealing with material science or have done research or are doing PhD or have done PhD or your research is in material science? At least 10. So for all those who deal with material science, as Onkar also said, हाँ मैम मुझे तो पता है SRIM क्या होता है. So for those people, Bethe-Block formula, stopping power is something which comes naturally to you because you are always dealing with this particular portion, the stopping power of ions in matter, right? This portion which says interaction of charged particles including alpha particles. Obviously 3 particles, alpha, beta, gamma. And then there is this fourth variety, this is a charged particle, which in every accelerator you are having a charged particle, right? So you have tandem accelerators, you have pelletron accelerators or fashionable CERN accelerator and so on, and GSI accelerator, and all accelerators are dealing with charged particles, right? Either positively charged or negatively charged, mostly positively charged. वो सब positively charged particles are sources of intense radiation, right? Here again gives you, as I said, when you start teaching this portion, you say you study it properly, I'll take you to IUAC for a visit, right? And then in a class when everybody is half sleepy, then you open to the internet and show them the website of IUAC with some nice good accelerator and so on. If they are inspired, well and good. If they are further inspired, then you one day go to the website of CERN, and they have a beautiful movie of the entire accelerator. It's there on their website. So you play that. And then you say, what is most important there? Radiation. And you are studying that. You see this linkage of application to real world. Everybody is fascinated by CERN. If you ask anybody, everybody is fascinated by CERN in physics. And they love astrophysics and so on. So these are the connecting things that you can do. And this Bethe-Block formula, mass stopping power, range and straggling is important while teaching. So out of all the portions, then in your unit 1, give maximum attention to this one. यहाँ भी derivation नहीं करनी है, derivation नहीं हो सकती है. Derivation is very rigorous. If I show you the Bethe-Block formula derivation, you know it goes a long thing. अगर आप करना चाहते हैं आपके ऊपर है, बट टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट को देखकर हो नहीं पाएगा. तो फॉर्मूला और उसके वेरियस पैरामीटर्स की रिकॉग्निशन बहुत ज़रूरी है कि ये फैक्टर क्या कर रहा है, ये फैक्टर क्या कर रहा है, विच वेरियस फैक्टर्स व्हाट आर दे डूइंग, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर देम. एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर पोर्शन is connected directly to the experiments. So all the experiments that we are going to do tomorrow on the computer simulations are related to Bethe-Block formula and mass stopping power, range and straggling. So 6 hours में से इसके ऊपर आपका maximum ध्यान होना चाहिए. And you have to cover it before you start doing practicals, right? So you have to cover it before you start doing practicals, otherwise you lose out. Or you can make another thing I would like to share is that there are 2 periods per week of this sec and only 1 theory period per week of this sec. Because if you do not make the mistake of taking, I'll take theory, let the practical be taken by somebody else. Don't do that. If you want to be really happy and nice with this paper, keep the practical with you. Now, whenever you want, you can snatch any part of the theory and cover it during the practical. Because of the grace of Delhi University, you'll be alone in any case. You'll not have a partner, as you know, because of group size. So, since you'll be alone, you can teach this Bethe-Block, stopping power, mass and scaling laws within the practical part, and your theory part is of lesser burden, because this is the SRIM calculation which we will do tomorrow is based on this, right? So alpha particle I will not go into details, otherwise we will lose. So you teach about everything about alpha particle, penetrating power, energy, momentum transfer, but don't go into derivations. Give them details and please introduce equations like this. So you do tell what is Q value, yeah? You tell what is Q value, and so they're actually understanding what's a nuclear reaction. How does alpha particle come out? Immediately you are sowing the seeds of quantum mechanics, because 1 year later or maybe 6 months later you will be teaching them quantum mechanics. We as physicists have to help the students understand everything from every angle. So in radiation safety, you sow the seeds of quantum mechanics and tell them, just wait, in quantum mechanics you're going to study about alpha particle tunneling decay, and then again 1 year later in nuclear physics you'll have to do it in complete detail. So it's like step by step understanding, which is very beneficial to the students. If possible, I'll get you feedback of my students, how it helped them. I mean, in my words you might think she's making up stories. What I'm telling is the feedback of the students, that they were helped by this ladder like studying. So and then when you talk about interaction of alpha particle with matter, ask them to surf out images like this. How are alpha particles actually detected? So some kind of detection mechanisms, the detectors that are used, the real images and so on. And let me tell you, they'll surprise you with the wonderful images they get from the internet, and they can find out, because they'll go to NASA website and this and that. You and I will not have time for that. And slowly your own bank gets developed. So आपका खुद का PPT का bank develop होते जाता है, and you can have lots of material added to your own for next year's teaching. So then you have to mention and revise Rutherford scattering to them, because as you know, alpha particle scattering that was the first experiment. So this is covered in NCERT. You talk about that. Make them realize that it was the alpha particle scattering which led to the beginning of the entire modern physics, right? So that connection part is necessary for you to enhance, you to share with them, and then Rutherford backscattering, how the angle is important. That part you mention. So you will say, ये तो क्या class 12 पढ़ाना है? Yes. First unit is yes, class 12 पढ़ाना है. और अगर आप नहीं पढ़ाएंगे तो आप देखेंगे उनको समझ नहीं आता है. I tried in the beginning to go straight away to higher level by using books like Leo, Noll, Cohen and so on. It doesn't enter into their head. So you have to go slow. If you go slow in the beginning and make the roots strong with the NCERT and the simple books, you will find by the time they go to the end, they are very fast. And towards the later portion, they'll go in an escalated manner. So these are, you can, these are Rutherford scattering and so on. You are well aware of these. All these slides are made by the students, let me tell you. Not one is made by me. So you see, and they've done it all today. They've done it, they've all done it yesterday. I told them in the morning I have to go for discussing this paper. What should I tell? Do you like it? I have to give a PPT. So ma'am, PPT पे तो आपने बनाया बताया नहीं था. मैंने कहा I didn't make PPT. I don't teach through PPTs. So they said let's make for you. So I was so happy. Tomorrow I'll show videos made by them, which they made yesterday for you. They made it for you to tell you how to do the experiments in an easy manner. And now they're contesting. किसकी दिखाओगे मैम? मेरी अच्छी है या उसकी? So these are all details. You tell about Neil Bohr, you tell about stopping power, you tell about electronic charge, revise the NCERT, go a little bit up, and then talk about Bethe-Bloch formula and this main formula. Why this main formula? You're going to conduct a practical, okay? During the practical, the SRIM experiment takes exactly 2 minutes to take out the output. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to plot the graph. It takes an infinite time for them to infer it. मगर आप written portion में क्या दोगे? Written portion में they have to write down what is Bethe-Bloch formula. So you have to tell them the formula. You can take it from any book, and you have to tell about the Bragg curve. This is part of the syllabus. So you have to teach them portions which you can use them as a question in Viva, as an understanding in the class, and for your theory paper also. क्योंकि theory paper में सिर्फ alpha, beta, gamma तो नहीं पूछेंगे ना. Unit 1 से question तो आएगा ही आएगा. So this syllabus has been designed in a reasonable way, and so these are the Bragg curves. You talk about Bethe-Bloch formula and so on, and then the ranges. So while talking about range of the particles, you all know what are ranges. You give them examples of their own sports classes, how they run for a long time. I remember Khalsa College. I'd gone there for physics Viva in a particular laboratory, and one of the students said, "Madam, मैं तो sports का हूँ, मुझे कुछ आता ही नहीं है physics में." So I said, "Wonderful, sports का नाम बताइए." बोला hockey, दूसरा throw ball. I said, "Okay, hockey की stick को 10 इंच कम किया, आप बताओ क्या होगा?" नहीं, hockey नहीं चलेगी. सर क्यों नहीं चलेगी? बताओ, logic बताओ. And then he asked me, "Ma'am, इसमें भी physics होती है?" I felt so bad. See, they're playing and they are not understanding there is physics somewhere. And there was another boy, very, very intelligent. He said, I throw the ball. I said, okay, projectile motion बता दो. Ma'am, projectile motion का इससे क्या लेना देना? I said, क्यों? थ्रो बॉल करो, बताओ एंगल बताओ, ऐसे फेंके नहीं, ऐसे नहीं, ऐसे फेंको, ऐसे मैंने कहा ऐसे मतलब कितना एंगल मैम, ऐसे. You see, poor fellow had not understood that actually he is using the best part of the physics, the best part of classical mechanics. So here also in range, just don't try to lecture them. Range is this. It's highly boring. You'll feel like sleeping while telling, and they will sleep also when they will listen. Talk about let's run together onto a track. How fast you can go, how fast Shah Rukh Khan goes through a brick wall, and so on. You know, think of examples like this, and then they understand the range part. And the range part is important because the SRIM calculations allow you to calculate range and you have to plot them. So Bragg curve up you will mention, so range of proton and so on, all this is there. You see the classical formula for energy loss is very, very tedious. You can see this is the rigorous one. If your students are of very high quality and very intelligent and they are more eager to, or if you have more physics, that's important, then you can use derivations like this. But if you have zoology students, then you can't. So you will have to also ask आपके students कौन है, zoology है, physics है, mixture है, क्या है.
But paper will not ask
Paper
will not ask who is a physicist or zoologist.
हाँ, yeah. So it depends upon आप कितना पढ़ाओगे.
But the question paper will be set in the similar manner for all the batch.
Yes, everybody. That is why I'm saying, till now we have not gone into derivations of rigorous types like this. We restrict ourselves to understanding. वो understanding भी करवाना is a challenge. You know, if you can make your student understand radioactivity and alpha, beta, gamma radiation, what is alpha particle tunneling and sealed sources and safety, and how it is applicable to so many things in life, it's quite a lot for a sec paper. उससे ज़्यादा आप नहीं कर सकते. मैं खुद इसको CBCS में पढ़ाती थी और अब मुझे खुद सेक में इसको डेप्थ कम करनी पड़ेगी क्योंकि टाइम रिड्यूस्ड है, 1 आवर ही तो है, तो आप इतना नहीं पढ़ा सकते, मेरे हिसाब से आप नहीं पढ़ा सकते. आप ये फॉर्मूला दिखा सकते हैं, दैट यू मस्ट डू द फॉर्मूला. एंड इवन इन द SRIM के मैनुअल में भी बेटे ब्लॉक फॉर्मूला आपको लिखा हुआ मिलता है. अब बुक्स जो मैंने आपको रेफर किए हैं, जो सिलेबस में रेफर है, वहाँ भी आपको बेटे ब्लॉक फॉर्मूला मिलता है. एंड देन यू मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड दैट द बेटे ब्लॉक फॉर्मूला इज बेसिकली टेकिंग इनटू केयर ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट हाउ अ मीडियम स्टॉप्स अ पर्टिकुलर charge particle. One charge particle is moving through a medium. So obviously the density of the medium and the nature of the medium will be controlling how much it is stopped. So stopping power of a particular medium and range is connected. ये बात समझने में उनको करीब 3 हफ्ते लगते हैं, इससे जल्दी नहीं समझ पाते वो लोग. It is after doing the experiments and their inferences they are able to understand that yes, if there is a denser medium the stopping power will be more, if the charge particle is higher in energy. So you have to give examples like this. Take alpha, beta, gamma, same energy, then you take same medium, keep on changing each and one parameter at one time and make them understand who is giving more resistance, who is giving less resistance, where are you able to conduct longer range, where are you able to conduct smaller range, right? So in range and staggering, so this particular equation is what we restrict. Derivations नहीं करते. Okay, so geotag photos, yeah, it's more important to show than to do. Yeah, so range and range staggering, we restrict ourselves to the simple equation. Range क्या है और उसकी values. They will understand more by those SRIM calculations, which they really enjoy, which I'll share with you tomorrow. And these are simple. इससे ज़्यादा, like this girl was very good, is a good physicist, so she dug out all equations for me. I said ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा नहीं हो गया? नहीं मैम, ये पढ़ना चाहिए. I was very happy to hear that. So straggling, when there is an energy going in a particular medium, then it straggles. So when you are saying go to the accelerator and you say मुझे 5 MeV चाहिए, तो it will not be 5 MeV, ना? There will be a statistical distribution. So 5 point, or it will be lesser than 5 or more than 5. So the energy also straggles as it moves. And the best part is if you explore SRIM, you'll enjoy it. It's like a video game. So you can actually take any medium and say how does this ion move through it. It shows you tracks, you know, simulated tracks कि ion इतना particle इतना energy का enter किया इस particular medium में, track क्या है. So they'll tell you, they'll show you tracking of the entire. So it's like a beautiful way of visualizing how an charged particle moves through a particular medium, right? So I think you got the point, and then in the end you have to talk about interaction of beta particles. Here it's mentioned collision. Collision में आपको collision के साथ आपको क्या लगता है collision में क्या पढ़ाना चाहिए? I'm not going to go do one-way teaching, no? So when you see collision, what are you going to do? Suppose we did not have this FTP, what would you do? And there is nobody to talk. Collision? So beta particle collision with what? Now a question arises, with what? Yes, so you see the word is written collision. Now it is beta particle, that means electron incident upon any of the matter of the periodic table. तो gaseous, solid, liquid वो भी आ गया. फिर beta particle की energy matter करेगी. The energy of the beta particle will matter, right? So energy is the main thing in the entire radiation safety. Just the particle is not important, its momentum transfer, as you all know, is the most important thing. So collision may, you'll have to talk about annihilation and normal collision. So electron impact on any particle, electron impact on any matter. You can also give the example of CERN for that matter. वहाँ पे प्रोटॉन कोलिजन्स होते हैं ना, तो आप उसको मेंशन कर सकते हो, बिकॉज देन दे कैन रिलेट, दे हैव हर्ड अबाउट हिग्स बोसॉन एंड सो ऑन. एंड देन यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट, सो एनिहिलेशन, ब्रेमस्टालिंग एंड कॉलिजन, ये तीनों आपको मेंशन करना होगा, बट अगेन not much in detail. I'm just skipping 3 slides where ionization is mentioned. So obviously electron impact होगा तो ionization होगी, आप उसके बारे में बताएंगे. उसके बाद आप electron induced ionization process को just mention करेंगे. So it will be a short paragraph type of a thing in point wise, but here you can include very important numericals of small one. Electron की energy इतनी है and binding energy इतनी है. So will it be liberated or it will not be liberated, you know, those kind of things. This particular graph is important. It tells you about how electrons, positrons, for example, this is for lead, bremsstrahlung ionization, how it compares. So these kind of, you know, inferential graphs are used rather than, you know, long derivations and boring answers. कि ब्रेमस्टालिंग कब ज़्यादा होता है, आयनाइजेशन कब ज़्यादा होती है, एंड सो ऑन. तो ये कंपेरेटिव टाइप ऑफ स्टडी इसमें ज़्यादा है और इन्फ्लुएंसेस ज़्यादा है. सो यू मेंशन ब्रेमस्टालिंग एंड देन यू डू नॉट गिव डिटेल्स ऑफ ब्रेमस्टालिंग, उसके इक्वेशंस और उसके डेरिवेशंस नहीं करने हैं. व्हाट इज़ ब्रेमस्टालिंग, हाउ इज़ इट प्रोड्यूस्ड, इट इज़ डोमिनेंट व्हेन, वेयर, इन विच एनर्जी, ये जो चीज़ें हैं इसी को आपने मेंशन करना है. एंड अगेन विद एनिहिलेशन, एनिहिलेशन के ऊपर भी एक क्वेश्चन हमेशा आता है. Obviously you can skip it also if you don't like it. Why you require another nucleus for annihilation or pair production, ये सारे questions reasoning type. So this particular skill enhancement paper has more questions on reasoning than that's, you know, रटो and लिखो. है 3-4 portions है रटने और लिखने के, उसमें से एक हट गया. I am very happy for that, but अभी भी एक है which is pure, but you have to save those students who don't study, you know, उनको पास भी करने के लिए एक पैराग्राफ होना चाहिए. So you talk about this thing and then in photons, this part is again important. तो 6 घंटों में से आपको पूरे 2 घंटे इंटरैक्शन ऑफ वो बेथे ब्लॉक फार्मूला, मास, स्टॉपिंग पावर के ऊपर देना है, और 1 घंटा इंटरैक्शन ऑफ फोटॉन्स या लीनियर एंड मास एटेन्यूएशन कोएफिशिएंट जरूर समझाना है. सो व्हेनेवर अ फोटोन इंटरैक्ट्स विद मैटर, you know I is equal to I0 exponential minus mu x. उसके बाद whichever medium you are taking, it attenuates, decreases the energy. Now there is a beautiful free program. It's called XCOM, which I'll demonstrate to you tomorrow. That is also free and you can do the experiment in 1 minute, exactly 1 minute, right? You have to plot a graph, it takes 10-15 minutes. Then you have to understand it, it takes half an hour, right? So that XCOM allows you to calculate linear and mass attenuation coefficients. So ये 2 portions, these are extremely important in unit 1 because these lead you directly to conduct the entire practical for the whole semester, right? So linear and it obviously I don't have to teach you what are linear absorption coefficients, mass absorption coefficients, how they are related. Simple, देखिए एक simple equation है, आप देख रहे हो how simple it is. No tedious equations are to be covered here, right? And mass absorption coefficient, but with that simple equation you have to give a numerical. In the paper which came this year, you will find every question had more numericals than theory. So it kind of develops the skill to them to go for, you know, just and get, get जो भी उनको करना है. That's all. So a graph like this is very important. For lead example, photon interaction cross sections में क्या predominate करता है, कब Compton scattering है, कब photoelectric effect कहाँ predominate करता है, Compton effect कहाँ predominate करता है, coherent scattering where is it predominant, Rayleigh scattering. So these type of inferential graphs are used rather than derivations, and you can use some diagrams like this Of course, and once again, this photoelectric effect is also studied by them again in class 12. Although you will find that they don't understand it. Huh? Concepts, at least in modern physics lab and theory, I was not happy with their understanding. Right? So you have to repeat Compton scattering. You can include derivation. So teach Compton scattering derivation, teach photoelectric derivation, which are very small, little, and they allow them to exercise their brain and do numericals on them. But other derivations are not there. Air production, no numerical. Air production, no numerical, only understanding. And then interaction of neutrons. Here, they are talking about slowing down of neutrons. That means you have to mention reactor. So, for example, to energize this, you just ask them, how many reactors do we have in India? Surf. What are the major reactors? Where there was a nuclear disaster? Immediately they will find out, Japan and so on. So, where is moderation required and what is the role of neutrons? How important are they for nuclear power generation? Our country is moving towards nuclear power. So, this particular portion को आप as a surfing homework बनाकर फिर बताइए. So, you will be able to cover it in just 1 hour because they've already done the basic part. So, rest obviously you know elastic scattering, inelastic scattering, how they moderate, fast reactors, fission, and obviously fission again is very important. So, you see, your particular skill enhancement paper relates them to what is most important for them right now. Since most of them are fascinated by going to either Australia, Germany or this thing, you just ask them, why do you want to go there? Why? Because you are very sure power is uninterrupted, okay, and everything is very, very smooth. Why is it smooth? Yeah, why is the country not bothered about its electricity? So you're supposed to be aware of that instead of just being, filling yourself with कि वो country बहुत अच्छी है. क्यों अच्छी है? क्योंकि वहाँ पे लोग nuclear power समझते हैं और यहाँ पर सब नहीं पढ़ना चाहते हैं. So that kind of, some kind of, soul struggling is also required, and this allows you that. So I think that's more than enough for today. Can you bring your laptops?
Yes.
Can you bring your
You
laptops?
all were carrying. That is why I am asking.
Please bring your laptops. To whom should I give? To Onkar. Onkar, you have the websites of, there are 3 softwares you require. Maybe you know them already. एक आपको SRIM चाहिए. You need SRIM. Second, you need XCOM. ओके वेबसाइट है 1 मिनट में कनेक्ट होती है. SRIM आपको डाउनलोड करके चल रहा है कि नहीं, एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है कि नहीं आप देख सकते हैं. एंड एक्चुअली इट इज सो इजी with your knowledge you'll be able to do it in 1 minute. And third is you must have magic plot free version.
मैं मॉर्निंग में टाइम डायग्राम देखूंगा आप लोग लैपटॉप पे
And also, what we can do by today evening, we can share the links which ma'am has told to us on the group. And by evening, we will share the links which Punita ma'am has shared with us, so that you can install if you have time at home.
First of all, I would really like to get a feedback of maybe just 1 minute. Do you think it is sensible to talk about this paper? You should be very, very truthful. If you think it's not useful, you should be truthful. The problem with us is we are not truthful.
Ma'am, actually, we were planning to do this paper in our college, but we were not aware that what kind of practicals we need to do, which software we need to do, and how we can start. But now, as you have given overview now, already we have noted the second paper in common physics, but very few students have opted.
So why will they opt? You have to become a salesperson now, madam. Those days are gone. If you want you've got a job, be thankful to God. Now be thankful. If you are a salesperson, then only you'll be able to survive. Otherwise, there'll be a constant tussle between workload and you will be living an unhappy life. So the first lesson that we all have to learn, and I am learning it also myself, is that we have to become a salesperson in the true sense. When you're selling something nice, it's very nice. We are going to sell the idea that we have to develop more physicists. Our country requires people with nuclear power, energy, knowledge, radiation knowledge for 2 reasons. For their personal benefit. Yes, if you don't have food, will you think about the country and the nation and the society? You'll not. You first want your food, you want your job, you want job security, and then comes the nation. Nation always comes the last. But at least it should be last. Somewhere in the list it should be there. And you can really contribute to it. You can contribute to jobs that they can take. You can contribute to their personal happiness. You can contribute to their personal health. What more? If you make one human being aware, the entire family becomes aware of what are all these things, what are the hazards. Otherwise, you should know, for example, one of the doctors said to me, I'm telling you my case, they did my MRI half body, ये ठीक नहीं आया है. I want you to repeat, come after 1 week, we want a full body MRI. I said, hello, do you know how much radiation hazard is there by undergoing one MRI scan for 20 minutes? How can you ask me to come after 1 week? That person was looking at me like this. You see? Otherwise they would have subjected me to another MRI. I did one CT scan, ये clear नहीं है, इस वाले lab से नहीं, उस वाले lab से कराओ. Hello? What about the radiation that has gone into my body? You see, you yourself need to know that, know this, and your students need to know this. So it has got hundreds. So you see, I can sell you this paper like anything. I'm a good salesperson. So I am there for you 24/7, and I mean it. Anytime you want to ask me anything, just write to me on WhatsApp. And I think there are many girls who will tell that I reply instantly.
Me too.
Yes? All those who write to me on WhatsApp, they know they will get an answer. Simple. So write to me, I can share the slides with you. This is not my property. I told you my students made them. You saw how the colors changed, how the fonts changed, how the background changed. It is their doing. And I was surprised, ये कहाँ से ढूंढ के निकाला? Damn, वो book से निकाला.
ICT में they are advanced than us.
Yeah. No, that the fact that they invested so much time in reading a book, capturing a equation and pasting it. So one of the girls did not do nicely. She was engaged in other activities in school, in the college, and did not pass the paper. I told her, now what? She said, no, this year I will study properly. So she was the first one to say, I'll make more PPTs. I said, good. She has to pass the paper next year. She was involved in other activities and was not present and did not do her paper nicely. So you see, I will share all these slides with you. No problem. I'll share all the books with you. If you don't find the PDF, just write to me. I'll send you the PDF. Otherwise, they are freely available. I can also tell you page number, article number. I'm that good, right? I can tell you where to, इस paragraph में इस line पे stop करो, वो भी बता सकती हूँ, कोई problem नहीं. The problem is, are you interested? That's the problem. If you are interested, I am interested all the time. And I can share whatever notes students have made. You can have fun seeing them, you know. They're all scanned and I can share those files with you. I personally don't make notes for any syllabus that I teach because my first rule is your life, your note. As simple as that. Your certificate, your life, your note, your career. I don't make notes for anything. I don't make notes for anything. Any particular subject to give to the students. So I don't have notes to give to you. But I have ample information of all books and I'm very sure of which portion is easier. So I can make a ladder for you.